The first day of solitary confinement, I didn't know what to expect. The first day of solitary confinement, I didn't know what to do. The first day of solitary confinement, I was confused. However, I knew that I had to gain strength to endure. My day went by when I filled it up with daily activities and stuff. And this is one of the things that an individual have to develop while in solitary confinement. If I took an hour or two to sit back and write to different people that I wanted to write to, if I sat back and read, for 2 or 3 hours, if I made prayer, if I paced the floor and just let my thoughts roam, and by the time it's time for the lights out to go out, I would be tired and my day would be complete. Eastern State Penitentiary was one of the first solitary confinement or prisons that dealt with long-term lockdown and solitary confinement. People would be locked down for long periods of time as they do today. In Pennsylvania, we call it the hole, we call it lockdown, or we call it the RHU or the Binger. We call it the Binger. Some people call it the Binger because a lot of times when you hear the gate slam, it gives that bing noise.
Before you take it into a cell, the cell actually supposed to have to be clean, mopped, sanitized, and all the things in that matter before you reach the cell. 9 out of 10 times, with so many people coming back and forth into the hole, the cells never get clean. So they'll move one inmate out of the cell and put another inmate in there. Although people masturbate, some people beat their heads off the wall. There's all types of, dirt, scum, and stuff that been in their cells. You're totally unaware of anything. All you look forward to is a tray. You know what I'm saying? And 9 out of 10 times there might not be a lot of food on that tray.
I didn't find out until my dad started complaining about it being cold in his cell. And I called the prison and they said they were revamping the heating system, and I asked them why. And that's when prison officials told me that some guys had hung themselves that year, not being able to handle being in that type of solitude for 23 hours a day.
Give them the punishment that's due to the crime, not something that's just not humanly right. To confine a man in a hole for over 3 years, first of all, for a crime that he didn't commit. Secondly, to confine any human being in a hole with no kind of human affection, no kind of human touch, it's really not called for. And when you're a parent on the outside looking in and you can't talk to your child and you can't touch your child and you can't hear from him, it's hurtful. It's worrisome. You get a lot of sleepless nights. You do a lot of crying. You do a lot of praying.
I don't drink cold water. I drink hot water. I drink hot water because psychologically I know that I'm still damaged from being in that cell 23 hours a day with freezing cold air blowing on me.
I was actually an artist too. I learned how to draw and take color out of magazines and make cards, and I would sell them on the block. So I would use the tissue like a pencil, kind of like dipping it in ink. I would dip it on the page, go like this on the page with the pencil, then I would color it in on here. So once I did that in the hole, I realized I had color because I used to always was going through it with the guards about getting color pencils, and they would never give me color pencils. I started getting enlightened. I started going to the library and I started reading, and I got every art book I could find in there, and I actually taught myself how to draw better.
Correctional guards came into his cell, made him stand up against a wall, took a picture, and then they gave him the picture. The sad part was that Daddy hadn't seen himself in more than 20 years. He didn't even know he had begun to gray.
I've been pepper sprayed, I've been tied up with chains, I've been beaten in, I've been through so much stuff. Only thing, your ego and your pride can get in the way when you're struggling and you want these things and your kids want these things. Or you just want to live a normal life. Like, I don't even want to lie. I just want to be able to have a good job, you know, pay my bills, take care of my family, and just live life.
We have enough people in prison, those who become educated, those who become politicized, those who become empowered. They're needed in society to teach and train the younger generation. We have firsthand experience as to what really goes on in the prison system.
Yes, my father is in prison, so they videotaping it. You know anyone in prison? Yeah. You do too? I know my father's in too. Yeah. Yeah. He's been in a whole longer time than your people in prison. So one day I'm going to try to come over to Huey and do a program for kids who got loved ones in prison. Okay? So I'll talk to y'all then, okay? All right. He began the Philadelphia, the Black Unity Council. Later they merged with the Black Panthers. I kind of was a little upset with him, but it wasn't until I got older and he educated me. He told me, he said, you know, I had to. How could I live seeing my people beat down in our community and allow myself to let my kids grow up in that same environment?
The things that I enjoy the most being out in society is, one, being able to spend time with my two little daughters, Ayana and Alewa.
Come on. What you doing?
Two is the work that I do as an advocate and a support for those that's incarcerated, as well as advocacy and community organizing work.
Who did that?
What kept me going was the realization that there were those who came before me who have endured worse. What kept me going was the realization that I know that the administration's desire was to break me down. What kept me going was the mere fact that there were a lot of brothers that was locked down with me who may not have the opportunity to ever see daylight or the other side of the wall, but yet they still stood tall.